Hello, guys. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my world, Shinichi's world. It's been a while since I did a live stream, and thank you so much for being here. As you can see today, it's all about Japanese tea, and I have a tea master who lives in Kyoto, as well as my friend. If you watch this channel, you know that I visited his store recently in Kyoto, and he's the person that actually got me into deep to tea very deeply. Before that, I already drank green tea, but not this much. And just one moment, guys. If I have to mute. So sorry about that. Okay, so thank you so much, moderators, for being here. Thank you, Night Riders Gal, XX Korat, Mindy's mom, Nancy. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. I really appreciate it. And thanks to those of you who wrote down your questions. Yeah, so I'm gonna call in Tyas right now so that he can be here with us. So one moment, guys. Let's see. How do I do it? There we go. Tyas.
Oh,
Hello.
hey, hello there.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me to the show. I'm very happy to be here.
It's my pleasure. Tyas.
Yes?
I'm very happy that you are here. Sorry, how's the sound on your side?
My side, it's perfect. I can hear
It's
you very
perfect?
clear. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, one moment. I think I have to do something on my side. Okay. One moment, please. There we go. Can you say hello again?
Hello.
There we go. Okay, much better. So sorry. I'm so sorry. I had the two screens, and there is like a little lag, and so I was hearing your voice twice.
Oh, okay. No
Yeah, sorry
worries.
about that. Okay, so would you like to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and say hello to everyone?
So, yes, hello everyone. Nice to be here. Nice to meet everyone here through Shinichi's channel. I'm really happy that I could be here, and I'm really grateful for Shinichi for taking the time to set up this live chat. And so it's great to be here with all of you. I've seen that we've gotten to. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be a really exciting 1 hour. Um, I'm Tyas Sosen. I'm a tea master, tea sommelier. I teach the tea ceremony, and I also I'm the owner of a small tea store in Kyoto that is named the Tea Crane, and I specialize in organic, pesticide-free, and natural teas only. So I think that today we'll be able to talk a lot about as well the cultural aspect of tea ceremony, as well as the tea as the product itself and the benefit of going organic and natural. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, last year, I don't know if all of you guys watched the video, but we went to film a tea ceremony done by Tias last year on the Tabi Eats channel. So if you missed that video, please check it out. It's quite interesting. And, I have to thank you for that tea ceremony, Tias, because before that, I was always afraid. I think, like many people are, of tea ceremonies. I think they feel like they're going to be scolded and it's very strict. I mean, there are, it is a little bit strict, but I don't think many people have this image of tea ceremony as being something to be enjoyed,
Right.
and because that's how I felt. I was really intimidated by the whole idea of a tea ceremony. But then you talking about it, saying it's not just about drinking tea, and it's about the whole experience, and everyone at the ceremony, including the guests, is equal, and that made me enjoy the whole tea ceremony a lot more, and it also made me appreciate tea a lot more. So that was very interesting. for
That's
me.
really great to hear, and yeah, indeed, tea ceremony is often seen as this very rigid, very strict thing, and if you move a finger wrongly, you'll get scolded and reprimanded for
Right.
making the mistakes, and oftentimes that is so. If you're a practitioner and you're learning the formal ways of doing it, then your teacher might scold you for crossing a border with the wrong foot, for example. Um,
Right.
but I
Something
mean,
she was so nervous.
but if you're experiencing this for the first time, there's no use in showing you that side of it being such a difficult practice and not enjoyable. So what I prefer to do is to, of course, show you that tea ceremony. If we can't enjoy it, what is the purpose of doing it?
Right, right.
So
Yeah.
my first impression of tea ceremony should be something that is fun and relaxing and in a way meditative as well.
Right. I think yeah that's what I learned that day. So that was great. And by the way, I do want to show all of you guys what I purchased at the Tea Crane because a lot of you guys have been asking me about that. So yeah, this is the would this be called a teapot, Tias?
This is a teapot in, well, there's various styles of teapots, and this is a teapot without a handle. Like, for example, I have a
Okay.
teapot here with
It's really
a
beautiful
handle
like this.
and with a
Uh-huh.
tout. That one is called a shibori dashi. It's basically a cup with a tout, and with
Yeah,
the lid you
so
suppress the
nice.
tea leaf from escaping.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I love it. And then I also got, this matching teacup as well. Um, you know, this kind of this size is smaller than what I'm used to seeing Japanese people drinking tea with. This reminds me of the size of the teacup when I went to Taiwan in the past.
Right.
But yeah, I never knew that these existed here in Japan.
It's not as common, and these little teacups, they're more often used for the sencha tea ceremony with the sencha tea leaf or with gyokuro. And I've got a few of them here in front of me as well, like these little teacups. Um,
Ah,
and I appreciate drinking
right.
from these more than from a big jug cup because drinking tea in a large batch is just, you're just choking it down
Yeah.
and you're not really appreciating it, you're not enjoying it. Whereas if you
Right.
have only this little amount, you have more appreciation of that little amount of tea, and you go through, but you take it not for granted. You treat it more as a precious thing.
I see. I see. Yeah. I think, in the beginning, I was drinking the tea with a bigger cup. And then as I, drank tea every morning, because I do that every morning, like a ritual, I started to think I needed a smaller cup for some reason. Like, I don't know why. I wasn't, I felt like it could be enjoyed a lot more with a
Mhm.
smaller cup. Yeah.
It
And
it's not that you're gonna drink less having a smaller cup. You're actually gonna drink
yeah.
more
Yeah.
because if you
But
fill
it
up
tastes
a
better.
jug, then you drink that jug and you say, "Oh, I'm full." But
Yeah.
having a 200 milliliter kyusu, having something to pour the tea out into, and you're just pouring and drinking and pouring and drinking and enjoying tea little by little, you won't realize that by the end of your one tea session, you've already drunk a liter of tea.
Right, that's true. Now, there's some very interesting things. First of all, so there's a guy named Simon Ochanoma here today, and he's a fellow YouTuber that lives in Belgium. And
All right.
yeah, and by the way, Simon, Tias is from Belgium as well,
Yes,
right?
I grew up in
Yeah.
Antwerp, studied Japanology in Leuven, and through studying in Leuven, I got to come on an exchange so many years ago, which is the time that I came to Japan and stayed here ever since.
Yeah, and Simon Ochanoma says he attended a 101 tea ceremony in Yamaguchi-ken at that time.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then, okay, so there's actually a lot of questions here. So, let me just make myself some tea. But the last time I went to your shop, the Tea Crane, and by the way, I do have the link to Tias's the Tea Crane YouTube channel. He does have a YouTube channel, so if you're interested, please check it out. But anyway, yeah, I've been trying
I'd
your low
appreciate that. Yeah.
grade tea, yeah, and I gotta say it's quite delicious. Your low grade tea. I hate to call it low grade. I like to call it the everyday tea,
Yeah.
and because I
Well,
do
for
drink
the
a lot
low
of
grade,
tea
I should
now.
add there that it is more it's a second harvest. So
Second harvest.
usually the first
Ah.
harvest in spring is the more delicious one, and this one is a later harvest in summer or autumn.
Oh, I
And
see.
so
I
that
see.
is why it
Okay.
is lower grade and the taste is less intense. But it's produced by a producer that I really appreciate and makes really good tea.
I
So the tea is
see. I
supposed to
see.
be good. It's just a little less flavorful, and so also um, less pricey.
Oh, okay. I see.
Unfortunately, I currently only have this available at the store. So
I
if
see. So you
anyone
have
is
to go to a
interested,
store if you want it.
you'll have to send me a message directly. But it's together with tea bags. I only sell tea in the store physically.
Oh, oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so my favorite tea of the moment right now is the wild tea, Tokuya's wild sencha tea. This is my favorite. It really
That's
is.
that's really great to hear
Really, really, I
because
really like this a lot.
it's essentially what tea tastes like. There's nothing added, nothing unnatural, nothing, almost no human intervention. It's just the tea bush growing in nature as it should be,
Oh,
and then
okay.
harvested and made into sencha. And it's yeah, there's no other flavor than the flavor of tea, authentically.
Yeah, I see. I see. I noticed that it has a very I don't know. It's hard to describe, but it's very pure flavor. It's very
Yes.
pure, and that's what I like about it. I really like it a lot, and I'm actually gonna make some tea right now. But
So how you're
yes,
going to brew
there.
it?
Oh, you know, my brewing method is not. I don't really have everything. So this is my old teapot that I
Okay.
used to use, and I usually put the hot water in here and I let it kind of cool down until it gets to a better temperature, and then I pour it into this
Okay.
other tea cup. Yeah, that's what I do.
So yeah, I think there were a few questions about how to brew tea, and I
Yes,
think we should
yes.
approach how to brew tea for each tea individually.
Okay,
If
let's
you're
start
brewing
with that
sencha
one.
or if you're brewing gyokuro, the approach should be a little bit different. And in this case as well, usually for sencha, it's customarily accepted that you have to cool down your water a little bit. So you use a different vessel, like in this case, you're using that kyusu, and you let the water cool down a little, and then pour it onto the leaf to steep it. But there's a difference between conventionally grown senchas and organic or natural teas, especially in the fact that natural teas have not been fertilized as much, and so the amount of flavor that's contained in them is not as large. So if you want to extract that flavor using a lower temperature of water, you're not going to get as much taste out of them because they're not fertilized for it. So what we should look for in organic or natural teas for sure, is more of an aroma. And so with natural teas, I like to experiment with higher temperature water, like right off the boil. So I usually don't let it cool down that much. I just pour the hot water straight onto the leaf and let it steep for a shorter period, like say 20 seconds to 40 seconds, so that you really get that aroma out and you can enjoy that aroma for several infusions. It's not one infusion and then you throw the leaf away.
Uh-oh. Hello. Uh-oh, did we lose TS?
What? Did you
Hello.
lose me? I'm here.
Okay. You're here? Okay,
I'm
am I
here.
still here? Oh, there you
Yes,
are.
I
Okay,
can see you.
there
Oh,
you
yeah.
are. Okay, there you are. Okay, I see you now. Okay, yeah. So I guess it's okay then because I you see I already poured my hot water into the tea. I don't really let it cool down that much, and then I steep it less, and I do seem to like that flavor, and then as I make more cups, I like to taste the different flavors because it changes, as
Yeah,
you
it
use
does.
the same tea leaves. So I guess that's okay, huh? Because I
Yes.
don't really use like low temperature.
No.
I don't have the
And low
patience
temperature
for.
wouldn't really work with this tea either because what you do, and it's a bit of a chemical explanation, but what you do with low temperature is you extract only the amino acids. It's been scientifically proven that under 80 degrees Celsius, um, catechins, which are the bitter flavor components of tea, do not extract. So if you lower the temperature of your water down to below 80 degrees, you'll only get the amino acids, which are the umami,
Oh,
the sweetness flavor components. And for
interesting.
tea
Okay.
to contain a lot of umami, a lot of amino acids, you need to fertilize a lot. Because through fertilization, you can enhance that amount of umami flavor. And then when you brew it with a lower temperature, you have a lot to extract. But natural teas are not fertilized for that. So they don't have that richness in umami flavor. And so if you cool the water down, you're basically not getting anything out of it. So you're not getting the aroma and you're not getting the umami because it's just not there.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, because some people tell me, "Oh, your water's still too high of a temperature for the tea," but I find it makes the tea taste good, and so that's
Yes.
what I've been doing. So,
And it depends
oh,
on
good.
which tea you're drinking. Each tea is different, so you need to get a different approach for each one.
Right.
I
Okay. So
decided to
since we
go
have
with a oolong.
yeah,
I'm gonna
oolong.
brew an oolong, a Japanese
Okay.
oolong. Not many people know that there are oolongs in Japan. So it's a lightly oxidized tea. I don't know if you can see inside my
Oh
my
yeah.
cues, but it's a lightly oxidized tea. Don't want to tilt it too much because then I'm going to throw it all over my computer. But
It's nice.
it's still
I
very
love the
green,
color. It's very
and
green. Yeah, it oolong
yeah,
is brown, isn't it? Usually.
you can have various variations. Very light ones that are still very close to green, and you've got very oxidized ones which are close to black tea.
I see. Wow. Okay. Well, Loretta Armstad, who lives in Bali, is saying, "Do you have to heat up the pot first, like the Brits do?"
Ah, I do. But there's a very simple reason for that, and I actually did that with this one as well right before the session started. As I've been talking about enjoying the aromas, enjoying fragrances, I think it's a good step to add to your tea practice and to your enjoyment of tea to first heat up the teapot. Add the tea, so heat up the teapot with hot water, then pour the water out, and then add the tea leaf to the heated teapot. Because what you can do then is to smell the aroma of the dry leaf, which has been heated, and so more aroma is released, and you get a better appreciation for the scents and the variety in the aroma of the dry leaf. And then, of course, we would do that again after we've brewed, because now you see the leaf has opened a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, that is beautiful. Right. By the way, yeah, I already had my two small cups of tea, the wild tea, and this is what my tea leaves look like. I actually sometimes eat a little bit of the tea leaves.
That's yeah,
After I
that's
finish
good.
drinking it, I actually like it. It's very nice and delicate. And I hear it's good for you, right? The tea leaves.
Well, and especially when they're naturally grown, there's nothing to
True,
fear.
true.
Everything is healthy and organic. So
Okay. So, next question, and this one's very, I think I've asked you this before personally, but Anne Ambler is asking, any starting matcha advice about how to initially choose, prepare, and enjoy matcha, especially with so many grades and unknown age, origin, and quality?
yeah, there are a lot of grades and there is no consistency within them. It's very difficult to find good quality matcha outside of Japan because you don't know where it comes from. And usually traceability is an issue. And anyone can put anything they want on a package because there's no standard for it. So it's very difficult to decide based on what is on the package how good the quality the tea is that you find in your local supermarket. It might say cooking grade or premium grade and essentially contain the same thing.
What about tea ceremony grade or ceremonial grade?
Ceremonial grade too is just the name. I do have to indicate that in Japan these names are not current. They're not used.
True. Right.
In Japan, if you go to a tea vendor in, let's say we go to Uji and we walk into a tea store, the only thing that you'll see there is a shelf with matcha, different tints. And the only thing that is different about them is their name, which makes usually no sense as to what the quality is going to be like, and the price. And that's the standard how matcha is approached in Japan. If the price is high, the quality is high. If the price is low, the quality is low.
I see. I wonder why they named it like the ceremonial grade. Do you know why? I've always wondered about that.
Yes, I have no idea why they named it like that. There's, I think there's the, there's the essential question: how, as a consumer, do you know what quality the matcha is, and how can you define that? If you have no idea of what matcha is like, if it's your first time drinking it, and you go to the store, you can't say, well, what am I looking for now? So vendors have to give it a name and say, this is that grade, and that grade is that good. But the issue with that grade is, unlike with the Japanese system, where pricing dictates what quality you're serving, there is no standard that also the wholesalers and the vendors, the retailers abide by. So anyone can call anything they want outside of Japan. So
I see. Interesting. Yeah, that is interesting.
So,
Okay,
but
so-
that is not really answering the question.
Yeah.
So how can you now decide which matcha to go with and what to drink? That's a very important question. And the unfortunate answer is you can't do anything unless you buy it, because the package is not going to tell you anything. So I would say buy it, test it, taste it. And some indicators there are the color of the tea. The more vibrant the green, the better the quality of your matcha is.
I see.
Essentially. Now, that's not always exactly the case, because with some organic or some very natural teas, the color is often a little bit more dull.
Yes, I've noticed that I've purchased dull colored ones, and I was wondering why. It actually didn't taste that good either, but yeah, I see.
Yeah. Well, with conventional teas, the standard is that if the color is dull, usually the flavor too is not as great. With organic teas, you often look for something different, because with organic teas, you look for that freshness, that easy to drinking. Well, it's easy to drink, and those are some different traits that you're not looking for in conventional teas. So, well, the first thing that you have to do is you have to buy the tea, look at the color, distinguish how minute the grain is, if it's quite rough or if it's very powdery, and then also how it whisks, how minute a foam you get, and just the color and the flavor of the tea itself.
I see. By the way, I'm curious. How many of you guys here actually drink Japanese green tea? I know some people don't really like Japanese green tea. but very interested to see how many of you guys actually drink Japanese green tea. And while you guys answer, Nicholas Monter has a question for you, Tia. So he is
Yes.
asking, are metal pots good? I cannot have clay or ceramic because I'm a total klutz.
So
Yeah,
basically, what you're asking me is, if I drop a metal pot, will it not break? Is that the question?
I think so, yeah.
Well, see, there are iron kettles that are often used, and the iron kettles are usually of a high quality. So they come at a higher price. I think they're good for boiling your water.
Okay.
But when it comes to brewing tea, there's not that many metal teapots available, from what I
True.
know.
That is true.
Especially, I like to work with these little teapots, these very small ones, because I also drink it in small portions. And I haven't seen any metal ones per se that are, well, commonly used. I've seen some
Right,
aluminum
yeah.
teapot-like pots, but they're usually used for cold water and to put it aside so you can top up the hot water.
I see. Okay. All right. So that's what he says, Nicholas. So TJ is asking, he read your bio online, found your story about discovering Japanese tea fascinating. Do you have a favorite tea nowadays? And what was the first tea that you remember tasting when you arrived in Japan? So two questions, I guess. Yeah.
My favorite tea is very difficult because it changes with the hour. In the morning, I like to have a matcha, and then after that, I like to brew some sencha. And in the afternoon, I get thirsty for some oolong. And in the evening, I like to wind down with some black tea. And in winter, I drink more darker teas, so like aged green teas or black teas. And in summer, I crave more green teas because they're more refreshing. So, and a favorite one, I've got a range of favorite teas. And if you look at the selection I make for the tea crane, basically what I do for the tea crane is I get the teas that I want to drink and put them online.
I see. Okay, so
So
there we go, guys. Right, and by the way, so many of you guys were asking, does the Tea Crane ship worldwide? And they do. So yeah.
yes, we
Please
ship
go ahead.
worldwide.
Yes. Right. Okay.
The first tea, that's actually an interesting one, because the first tea that I drank, maybe not in Japan, but the first ever tea that I drank is a question that I had well, a while ago, and I thought I should make a video about that. And actually, I
yeah.
have a video. The next video that I'm releasing on my YouTube channel is about the very first tea that I drank, not knowing anything about Japanese tea.
Oh, how interesting.
It's quite a story. So I suggest everyone tune in to the YouTube channel, because early next week that video should come out.
Right. Yeah. His videos are very interesting, guys. One of my favorite videos of his is the virtual tea ceremony. I really like that one. I like that one a lot. So check that out. It's an ASMR video. Very, very high production quality, I gotta say. So A1, who is she's been a viewer for a long time. So she's saying, Mr. Sosen, what attracted you specifically to the Japanese tea ceremony?
What attract that? That's a very good and a very pointed question too. So the reason that I got interested in tea ceremony, maybe I should go a little bit back and talk about what got me interested in Japanese culture and why I'm in Japan, because it's a large part of it. Beginning when I was living in Belgium, I caught an interest in Japanese culture through kendo, the Japanese art of fencing, the way of the sword. And practicing kendo, I got more information about Japanese culture and the samurai in the past and all these cool stories. And I read some novels about Japanese culture. I thought, well, this is a very interesting culture. I actually want to go to Japan and see what it's like for myself. So I decided to enroll at the Japanology course or the Japanese Studies course at my regional university in Leuven in Belgium. And after 2 years of study, I got to come on an exchange to Japan. And with that opportunity, I thought I want to learn as much as possible about Japanese culture. So why not participate in different cultural approaches? So besides kendo, I also practiced karate and jodo, the way of the stick. And then also learned the no theater, studied literature, practiced Ego, the board game, did a little bit of flower arrangement, took some classes in calligraphy, and also enrolled in a weekly tea ceremony practice with my current teacher. And with all the other arts, what I felt was that the way of the sword focuses mostly on the sword, and so you get a better appreciation for that aspect of culture. The way of calligraphy focuses on the brush and writing, and you get a better understanding for that aspect of culture. But with tea, the interesting thing was that almost everything is encapsulated in that one single practice. It's like a microcosm of Japanese culture as a whole, because it does not just only include tea. It includes the teaware, the pottery, the metalware, the bamboo craft, the calligraphy that you put up in the alcove, flower arrangement. You need to at least master a little bit of literary knowledge, because if you're going to read the calligraphy, you also need to know what it's alluding to or what it's about, and from which literature it came. So it's got all these aspects of Japanese culture in this one single practice. And I thought, well, I want to learn as much as possible about Japanese culture. So if I just learn and focus on tea ceremony, I get this very broad outlook on what Japan is. And this is going to be the fastest way for me to learn as much as I can about tea ceremony. And then, of course, that was the initial idea. And then getting into it, of course, growing a better appreciation for the aesthetic value of it, growing a deeper understanding of our essential, relationship to nature, seeing it as a spiritual and somewhat therapeutic practice, and basically just cornering it as a way of life. And
I
now,
see. Yep.
that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the answer, A1. So Lady Vampy, so Lady Vampy says she wants to try Japanese tea. However, she has hyperacidity in GERD. Do you think I can try Japanese tea? What type or kind can I try?
I'm not a doctor. I have no idea what these terms of illnesses refer to, or what causes them, or what symptoms they might bring out, and what the reaction of tea is on them. So my answer is not going to be yes or no. You can. I have no idea. I don't know if I have the authority to answer that question, but I think the basic idea, the approach should always be, if it doesn't feel good for you, then don't. If your body says no,
true.
then listen to your body.
Right.
And if you want to try it once and see how it goes, then okay, but I don't know how dangerous that could be. So
Right, yeah. It's like, I can't drink coffee, so I know it's not really just the caffeine content because I can drink green tea. It doesn't
Right.
affect me the same way. Yeah, and a lot of people say, well, they both contain caffeine, but my body doesn't react the same way, to those two things. So, yeah. So the next question is very interesting as well. I think a lot of people get confused. Cloudy7 asks, is there a difference between matcha and green tea? Because in Singapore, whenever they look on the shelf to look for matcha, and they look at the ingredients that says green tea. And so this person is confused.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I understand. So on matcha, if you look at the back of the tin, it says green tea on it. The content of what is in the package is green tea. Green matcha is green tea, but green tea is not matcha. The main ingredient of what matcha is made from is green tea, and matcha as well as sencha as well as gyokuro and actually oolong and black teas as well come from the same tea plant. Now for oolong and black tea, the big difference is the way it's manufactured. But for green tea mostly, the difference between the different types of green tea, including matcha, gyokuro, sencha, and the other ones, is how the tea is cultivated. Basically, the duration of shading the tea bushes. The longer the tea bushes are shaded, the more it becomes suitable for matcha. And most matcha is usually shaded for about 4 weeks. And so this shading is what differentiates the tea leaf that is used to make tencha, which is the base component for matcha. And so in essence, that is in the big, book of names, green tea. So the product is matcha, but it's made from green tea, which...
Right. I think that answers the question. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. So, is it Tamara? This is Tamara, who lives in the Netherlands. This is not really a question, but she says, black tea gives me acid reflux. Hojicha sometimes, but never had problem with green teas. Do you know why? Hello? Uh-oh.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, hojicha sometimes give her acid reflux. Green tea, no problem.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither. I wonder why. Very interesting. Okay, and then Jason83 says, I'm not a tea drinker. I drink coffees because teas are so watery and I feel they are flavorless. I kind of want to get into teas. So what's the best way to get into drinking teas?
Don't approach it like coffee. Tea is much more subtle. Like coffee, as well as with other things, I think the reason why so many people like coffee is because coffee just slaps you in the face with its taste. It's like, hey, I'm coffee. And you've got some subtle differences in there, but they're usually more outspoken. You can even if you're not as trained, you can get 2 coffees and say, oh yeah, this one's roasted more and that one's roasted less. Or this one's got more astringency and that one's got less. And it's more outspoken. So it's if you compare that to tea, then tea is more about all the subtlety. You might have 2 teas next to each other, and only the difference is they're very gentle. They're very very small, and so looking for those differences is basically what makes tea so enjoyable. Tea is not there in your face saying, hey, I'm tea. Tea's there just like a good companion sitting beside you saying, well, what shall we talk about?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I think, when I used to drink coffee, but as for me, more as a habit, and also, to help me wake up in the morning, I guess, because of the caffeine. But with the green tea, I noticed that I can't, at least for me, I can't just drink it without focusing on the tea. I have to have complete silence, and I have to be alone at the table, no conversation for me, and just like to focus on the tea, and that for me that's the best way to enjoy tea because it's
Yeah,
so subtle and the
that's
flavors
that's
are
what tea
subtle.
does. It says, sit down, let's have a calm conversation with you and the tea. And because it is so subtle, you need to bring your awareness to it, because otherwise you just go over it and you don't taste it.
Right,
So
right.
what tea basically does is it calms you down and it trains your awareness and your
Yeah,
sensitivity.
it's true. Actually, it's true. For me, my morning tea ritual is a little bit like meditation for me. It really does. It kind of sets the mood for the day for me. And coffee didn't do that to me in the past. So, that's a big difference. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's like meditation. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so Feng of Hello Feng says, is Japanese and Chinese tea similar?
Um, yes and no.
Interesting.
Japanese tea, Chinese tea, Taiwanese tea, they're all made from the tea plant, the Camellia sinensis. And the tea bush is basically the same everywhere. Although you have different climates that allow the tea bush to develop in a different way. Like, for example, in warmer climates, you have larger leaf, coarser leaf that grows at a further distance from each other, whereas in colder climates, the leaf sort of clucks together, and it's smaller, it's closer to each other on the branch, and you've got those differences, but it's basically the same species, the same tea plant. In that way, yes, it's similar, and you can make similar things out of it because you're handling the same kind of tea plant. Although the approach that is taken to manufacturing is quite different. I think most teas in China and Taiwan are pan-fired. They use a large frying pan to parch leaf. If you're making green tea and you parch it to stop the oxidation to maintain the greenness of the leaf, you also do that with oolong, for example. But in Japan, what they do mostly is they steam the tea right after harvest, and that also stops the oxidation enzyme and halts the oxidation so that the green color is maintained. And then they go through different rolling stages, etc. So the sencha, especially gyokuro, kabusecha, are types of teas that are quite unique to Japan, and the method of producing that is discovered in Japan. So yes, you have quite a large difference there. And then also the approach to conventional farming is completely different in Japan, because a lot of fertilizer is used to induce that umami flavor. Basically, when you're drinking a conventional Japanese sencha, or especially with gyokuro, you have that. It's almost as if you're drinking a bowl of dashi soup. It's that rich in oily almost, and sweet, like
Right.
not sweet, but salty sweet, umami
Right,
sweet,
right, like
savory.
umami, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah. So Loretta is asking, how long does it take to become a tea master in Japan? And also, have you heard of Lapsang Souchong? I'm not sure what that. I guess that's a type of tea.
It's a type of tea, but it's not a common Japanese type of tea. It's yeah, there are a lot of different types of teas that are produced in China and Taiwan that are different from what is made in Japan. So I guess that Lapsang Souchong, that is a tea that she enjoys a lot.
I see. I think so. Yeah, I think so. Um,
So how long does it take to become a tea master? Uh, it's a question that I get a lot, and I'm still struggling with the right answer. It's not something you go to school for. Let me put that first.
okay.
It's not. I want to become a tea master. What do I have to do? Oh, there's a school. I go to the school. I enroll in a course. I take lessons for 4 years, and I pay a certain amount of tuition. And then at the end, I get my graduation certificate, and now I'm a tea master. Becoming a tea master is being a tea master. You have to live it. You're only a tea master today when you live like one today. And if you don't live one like one tomorrow, you're not one tomorrow. It's a lifelong pursuit, and it's a way of life, an attitude to life.
Interesting.
And
I love that
so
answer.
I'm still learning new things, and I continue my training. And you see that a lot in different Asian arts, that masters don't like to call them masters. The reason that I've adopted the term tea master is because everyone says I'm a tea master. But from my own perspective, I'm just in pursuit of the way, and I'm learning the art of tea and the tradition of tea, and I just want to live a life that is in alignment with the values that I have learned through tea. And so becoming a tea master is not really a goal. It's just being here today with this cup of tea and being fully present in this moment and being able to share that with everyone.
And so you're constantly learning.
And I constantly learn. I think for tea ceremony alone, I haven't learned everything there is to learn. There's so much depth to it, and you keep discovering new things. And as I said, you can know something about tea balls, but you don't know how to make them. So there's another avenue that you could still go deeper in. Some tea people like to make tea balls. Others like to make their own tea scoops, to build their own tea huts. So there's continuous exploration.
Yeah, that is interesting. So Mindy's mom is asking, do you eat ochazuke? And if you do, what type of tea would you recommend for the ochazuke?
Ochazuke works well with different kinds of teas. I think it also depends on what you put on it. Like if you do ochazuke with a pickled plum, or do ochazuke with a fried piece of salmon, that might be different. I like to do ochazuke with salmon using a hojicha, actually.
Interesting. Salmon with hojicha.
Yeah.
Oh, なるほど. Just the regular yakizake, the Japanese grilled salmon.
Yeah.
Oh,
you just bake
interesting.
it and then put the hojicha over it.
Interesting. That sounds good. Actually, I'm hungry for that right now.
That sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Eating once
think
a day,
we both
I
haven't
think about
eaten
food.
yet.
No, we haven't. Mindy's mom, by the way, also does intermittent fasting. By the way,
Really?
yeah, I as many of you guys know, I do intermittent fasting as well. I've only been doing it for about 2 months now, but Tyas, I learned, has been doing intermittent fasting for 2 years. 2 years, right?
Yes, I've been doing it for 2 years now. I don't know, for some reason I got more conscious about health and life and the way I want to live my life, etc., especially through tea as well. But that began somewhere in mid 2019, and it was a good fit because it also helped me to navigate better through the worldwide crisis that we're seeing now.
I see.
And with
なるほどね。
intermittent fasting, I really learned that, well, first of all, we're numbed by so many things around us, so many influences, and phone is constantly ringing. Your attention is always drawn away from you, and if you're constantly full in your stomach, that also sort of numbs you down and numbs the senses. So I learned through intermittent fasting that it heightens your focus and alertness, and also helps me to become more sensitive to the things that I drink, the things that I eat, the things that I sense, the things that I consume in general in life.
Yeah, I noticed that I enjoy my meals more since starting intermittent fasting, I tastes are more intense. I feel like if I eat 3 meals a day, I feel like sometimes I just eat for the sake of eating because I have to, because it's mealtime and I'm not really
Yeah.
conscious of what I'm putting into my mouth. So yeah, and I also have more focus, it seems, because I'm not always full.
We
And I
definitely
sleep
don't
better.
need 3 meals a day. It's too much for the body to take too.
Yeah, I agree. So XX Cobra, one of our amazing moderators, is asking Tias, do you ever drink teas iced?
Hardly.
Hardly. Yeah,
I might. No, no. Never.
never.
I might make a cold brew, but I will never pour it out over ice.
Ah, I see, I see, I see.
I might just
Naruhodo.
take it out
Yeah.
of the fridge, pour it in a glass, and then have that. Also, when I go to a restaurant, I ask for uh, water. I don't drink anything other than water or tea, so I won't have anything else at a restaurant. But if I get a glass of water, I would ask for water without ice.
Oh, I
Just
see. Okay.
just because the ice sort of defeats the well, it you get less water and it cools the water down too much, and I feel that it numbs your intestines. It cools your intestines down and somewhat halts their functioning to a certain extent. So I like to have warming drinks or warming substances, and I just drink anything if it's cool, even without ice. So even in
Right.
summer, I think it's better to drink hot tea. That's what I do
I
in
see.
summer as well. Drink
Yeah,
your
you know,
hojicha just hot.
right. Well, you know what? It's interesting because I I used to have a friend from China a long time ago. He used to come to Japan often, and he also never drank iced drinks. He said that a lot of Chinese don't drink iced drinks because it affects their stomach or digestive system in a negative way. And yeah, so even during the summer, because it was summer, and I offered him some ice tea, I think, and he says, no, 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 no ice for me,
Yeah.
because I never drink anything too cold. So that was very, very interesting.
Yeah. The reason
Uh,
I became so conscious about that is drinking something cool makes you feel as if you're cold, but it doesn't lower your body temperature. Whereas if you drink something hot, you start to respirate, and if you measure your
True.
body temperature, really, it cools down your body temperature. So you get better accustomed to the heat. And it's got a much longer effect. You might have to sweat a little, but it has a much longer effect than just eating or drinking something cold.
Right. Okay. So here's another question, and I find it interesting as well. Someone asked, I can't really find it, but someone asked about your opinion about the new blended teas where they mix in different flavors like lemon or grapefruit, into green tea. What's your opinion of those?
I saw that question as well, and I saw there was another question that I actually wanted to take together with that.
Okay.
The other question, where is
Yeah,
it?
because we have like 5 minutes more
Okay,
before this
yeah.
ends.
Oh, here it is. Can't say says, are you a
Right.
traditionalist when it comes to tea, or do you enjoy these new blends being developed? I see some other
Right.
ones that, oh yeah, that's the, so are you a traditionalist when it comes to teas is sort of the thing that I liked in that question. Because rather than to say a traditionalist, yes, I'm a traditionalist. I think that the wise men of the old ages, our wise forefathers, had much more knowledge and much more life wisdom than we have at the current moment. And from learning their traditional pursuits and traditional arts, we can go back to the values that they knew and that we're sort of forgetting. and also live in closer relation to nature, because we're distancing ourselves more and more from nature, whereas in the past people really lived in harmony with nature and their natural surroundings. So yes, I'm a traditionalist in that way, but you could actually say that on a tea level, I'm more of a purist. For the tea grain, if you look at the selection that I've made, most of the teas are single cultivar, single origin, and even single field. They're not even blended at the same producer's facility. Everything is, you can determine which field it came from. So I like to go very, very pure. And so I don't even blend different teas together or different farms together. I like to go very, very pure.
Right.
And
I noticed that's also quite rare in Japan as well because
it's uncommon.
because before I went to your shop, well, the second time when I actually bought some tea, I've been looking for teas and I go to, some high-end tea shops as well as supermarket, and I tried a variety and I couldn't really find like single origin teas. It was quite difficult to find them. And I find, at least for me, I somehow prefer the single origin teas because they taste a lot more pure. I don't know. Sometimes I find teas that seem to be like blended too much that I don't even know what the original tea tastes like. I don't know. That's how I feel sometimes.
Yes.
Yes.
And most conventional tea vendors, they have blended teas. They've got blended from over 20 different tea farms over the country. And of course they have to, because from one tea garden, you can't make as much. You can't make more than 100 kilos maybe from one tea garden, and they need tons of the same product. So throwing stuff together allows them to make a larger batch of the same kind of tea.
Yeah.
So that's
okay. Yeah.
We understand that, and so
we do. Yeah. I actually tried because I got it from someone. I tried a blended tea. It was like, can't remember what flavors. It was like lemon and papaya. I don't remember. Blended with Japanese tea, and it's good it was good as long as I didn't look at it as green tea, because it tasted nothing like green tea anymore. It tasted like a cocktail, and so it's different. Like I didn't have the same meditative experience that I usually get with tea. So it's good if you look at it from a different perspective, but not from like a green tea perspective. Personally, for me, yeah. So
as you say, I agree with that.
Yeah. So anyway, before we go, I just want to say, guys, I left a link to Tyas's YouTube channel in the description, so please go check it out because his content is really great. You can learn so much about the world of Japanese tea from his website. His videos are very thorough, entertaining, and he works really hard to make high quality videos. So please check it out. And then also, if you want to order his tea, you can order his tea online. Do you have a link to your shop on your YouTube channel, Tyas?
Yes, the link should be there. It's the-tea-crane.com, and that will link you directly to my my website. And I've got a lot of good teas there, and I also, of course, want to share with everyone that I've also got a tea club which goes out monthly, in which I share much rarer teas, give a little bit of information in a pamphlet with the teas. Have two types of teas usually that are similar in a way that relates to the topic of that month.
Right.
I also do a video specifically for subscribers only. So that's another aspect of the video creation that I'm doing at the moment.
Wonderful. Okay.
So if you're interested to learn more and just receive very interesting, very rare teas delivered to your door each month, then you can also have a look at the Tea Club, which is one of the links in the top of my my banner on the website. So you can access that through there.
Amazing. Amazing. And guys, so this was short. The hour went by so quickly. If you guys are interested in another session like this one, we are thinking of doing a live stream on the Tabi Eats channel with Tyas one of these days. So please let us know if that's something that will be interesting to you. Thank you to our moderators for being here. Thank you so much for your help. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for spending some time with us over this weekend. And thank you, Tyas, for allowing us to get to know you and tea a lot more. Thank you for your knowledge.
It was a pleasure being here and a pleasure sharing these questions and the time with you and everyone who was watching. So, and if we do another stream again, I'd be happy to make some time for that again. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Same here. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. And remember, tomorrow on Tabi Eats, we have our regularly scheduled weekend live stream. So hope to see you guys out there. All right, guys. Take care. Bye, guys.